Imagine a road trip. A fallen tree blocks the highway, so you turn around, and the road brings you right back to the same tree. You drive again, same tree, same town. You are now a resident of a place that has no name, no exits, and one rule. When the sun goes down, you lock your doors, hang your talisman, and you do not listen to the things outside that smile like people. For 3 seasons, From has trapped its characters and us in that town. Today we're doing two things: the entire story so far, told properly, and then the one theory that makes every strange detail click into place. Stay to the end because the twist rewrites everything you're about to hear. Start with the rules, because the town runs on rules. The Matthews family, Jim, Tabitha, Julie, and Ethan, arrive the way everyone arrives, by accident on a road that folds back on itself. They crash, they're separated, and by nightfall, they've learned the local arithmetic. The sun sets, the creatures come out, and the creatures always win. They look human, they smile, they speak softly through the glass, using kindness as a crowbar, because they can't force their way in. They have to be let in. The only protection is a talisman, a small stone charm that keeps them from crossing a threshold. Nobody knows why it works. Sheriff Boyd Stevens, the closest thing this place has to a spine, hands out the rules with the weary patience of a man who's buried everyone who ignored them. And the town itself has split into two philosophies. Boyd's townspeople keep order, ration food, keep watch. Donna's colony house crowd figures they're already dead, so they might as well live free. Order versus surrender. Two answers to the same prison, and the show's first quiet joke is that neither one has ever gotten anybody home. Then the show starts breaking its own rules. And this is where From stops being a monster story and becomes a puzzle. The forest has no edges. Walk in a straight line in any direction, and the trees deliver you right back to town. Radios pick up voices that shouldn't exist. Power lines run from nowhere to nowhere. There's a crumbling stone tower deep in the woods that predates everyone. Faraway trees that swallow you whole and spit you out miles away, and a lighthouse on the horizon that everyone can see and no one can reach. Boyd follows a thread of his own. He walks into the forest looking for answers and finds a bottle tree that grants wishes, a ruin with a history of violence, and a man chained in a cell, a soldier who's been down there so long that his existence proves the town has been collecting people for generations. Boyd comes back changed, carrying something alive in his blood that shouldn't be possible, and passes it on in ways he doesn't understand yet. Meanwhile, the children are tuning to a different frequency. Ethan speaks about the boy in white the way you'd talk about an imaginary friend, except this friend leaves footprints. Sarah hears voices that tell her terrible things and calls them angels. The adults keep trying to map the town like it's a physics problem. The children already understand it's something older than physics. They just don't have the words yet. Season 2 turns the screws. A bus full of new arrivals dumps fresh victims into the pressure cooker. A nurse named Marielle, a bereaved engineer named Jade Herrera, abrasive, brilliant, and immediately convinced everyone here is insane. Then he starts seeing things too, a symbol that repeats through the town's bones, history bleeding through the walls like damp. The town answers the new arrivals with its cruelest season yet. People are strung up in the woods on living vines, alive until they aren't. The food rots overnight, all of it at once, like the town flipped a switch. And the creatures don't even need to hunt because starvation does it quietly. And through the chaos, two threads tighten. Victor, the only survivor who's been here since childhood, starts remembering what his memory spent decades protecting him from. His mother, Miranda, who believed the town's children could be saved, and the night that belief got everyone killed. And Tabitha starts seeing what Victor's mother saw. Visions of children in white robes led into a cave. A boy in white, a symbol drawn centuries apart by people who never met. The ghost children who circle her whispering one strange word over and over like it's the only word that matters. Then Tabitha follows the visions up the impossible lighthouse, finds the children waiting at the top, and they push her. She doesn't hit the ground. She wakes up in a hospital bed, machines beeping, nurses talking, outside, in our world. And the show lets you sit with the one question it's been saving. If you can wake up out there, what exactly is in here? Season 3 answers the question everyone asked, can you leave? With something much crueler. You can leave, and it doesn't matter. Tabitha's freedom is a leash. Out in the real world, the visions don't stop. They intensify, pulling her toward the town's history like gravity, until a faraway tree folds her right back into the prison she escaped. The town wasn't done with her, because Tabitha, it turns out, was never a random victim. She and Jade discover their connection runs deeper than one lifetime. His visions and hers interlock like puzzle pieces. Miranda's paintings, children handed into the dark, a man and a woman who lived here long ago and lost everything, and the creeping recognition that they have been here before, wearing other faces. Meanwhile, the monsters get a general, a smiling man in a bowler hat who doesn't just kill. He talks, he taunts, he stages his cruelty like theater and aims it at Boyd personally, dismantling the sheriff's certainty piece by piece. The creatures were bad enough when they were animals. Season 3 reveals they have management, and management has a plan. The body count climbs, and in the season's final movement, the show plays the card it's been palming since episode 1. The first child conceived and born inside the town, a miracle everyone needed, is taken, collected like a payment that was always owed. History isn't just repeating in this place. It's a cycle, and the cycle has a purpose. And somebody built it. So that's the story so far. A town that traps the grieving, rules with no explanations, children who see ghosts, and adults who become them. Now, the theory. Because there's one reading of this show where every single one of those details stops being random and starts being evidence. Every mystery in From shares one shape, something old, demanding something young. Line the evidence up and look at it. The cave vision, children in white robes, walked into the dark by the people who were supposed to protect them. Victor's memory, a mother who died trying to break a cycle she only half understood. The boy in white, a child still wandering this place centuries later, guiding other children like a shepherd who never got to grow up. The bottle tree that grants wishes and always collects. The ghost children circling Tabitha, begging her to remember. And the final scene of season 3, a newborn, the first child the town ever produced for itself, taken. The town doesn't want people, it wants children, and it engineers tragedies that deliver them. Now look at who the town selects, because the guest list is the tell, not random travelers. Parents, broken families. The Matthews arrive, fresh from losing a child. That's why they were on that road in the first place. Boyd arrives, carrying his wife's death like shrapnel. Grief, guilt, unfinished love. Every arrival is carrying the exact same luggage. The town isn't a net catching whoever happens to drive by. It's a lure, and grief is the bait it prefers, because grieving people will do anything for a second chance. Here's the reading that makes it click. The town is a story, literally, a fairy tale engine running on very old rules. Not a physics anomaly, not purgatory, not a simulation, a bargain space, a pocket of the world built or cursed by a deal someone made with something ancient. The kind of deal every fairy tale warns you about. Trade your children for your heart's desire and discover the debt never closes. Run the show's strangest details through that lens and watch them stop being strange. Talismans stop monsters at doorways. That's not science, that's folklore threshold law, as old as the first story told around a fire. The creatures can't force their way in. They charm, they flatter, they wait to be invited, because fairy tale monsters obey fairy tale rules, and the rule is that evil must be let in. Wishes granted at a bottle tree, each with a hidden price, a forest with no edges, the dark wood, the oldest set in the genre, the place every tale sends its children to be lost. A tower, a lighthouse, a boy in white leading children like a figure out of a nursery rhyme. Even the show's furniture is telling you the genre. Victor's crayon drawings that work like illustrations from a book nobody's allowed to read. The storybook he kept. The season that literally opens with the words "Once Upon a Time." The show has been announcing what it is out loud from the beginning. We just kept trying to read it as science fiction. And here's the twist inside the twist. If the town is a story, then it needs a storyteller. Someone made the original deal. Something has been keeping the engine fed. Generation after generation, child after child. And the visions Tabitha and Jade share, the past lives, the interlocking memories, those aren't hauntings, they're casting calls. The story doesn't just collect children, it recruits authors, mother roles, keeper roles, witness roles. The same souls recast in the same parts, lifetime after lifetime. Because a story this old doesn't die when its characters do. It just starts a new draft. Now rewind the whole story with that key in hand. Why does the road loop? Because stories don't let you leave before the ending. Every page turns forward. Why did Tabitha wake up outside? Because she isn't a prisoner. She's a character with a role to finish. And the story reeled her back the moment she wandered off page. Why do the children see what the adults can't? Because in every fairy tale ever told, children are the only ones who see the world honestly. The adults have to unlearn their disbelief. And in this town, unlearning it late is what gets you killed. Why does the bowler hat man speak when the other creatures don't? Because every tale eventually reveals its villain. The wolf who talks is always the dangerous one. And his arrival isn't a new threat. It's the story announcing that it's approaching its final chapters. Why did the town let a baby be born at all? Because the engine was hungry, and the cycle of taken children is the engine. The original bargain still being serviced, generation after generation. Even Boyd's cursed blood fits. In folklore, what you carry out of the underworld always follows you home. The town's real horror was never the monsters at the window. It's that every person inside is living in somebody else's unfinished deal, paying interest on a debt they never signed, inside a story that was never about them. If this reading is right, it makes predictions. The show won't end with an escape. It will end with a completed story. Someone paying the debt in full, or rewriting the deal at its source. Victor matters more than anyone alive, because he's the only character who has survived a previous cycle. He's the reader who's already seen an earlier draft, and the way out won't be found in the forest, because the forest is the story's binding. It'll be found in the telling. Learn the story's true shape, name it, finish it, and you can finally give it an ending. That's the twist that explains everything. From isn't a show hiding its answers. It's a fairy tale that's been reading itself to us, out loud since the first fallen tree. If you buy the fairy tale engine, or you've got a darker theory that fits the evidence better, the comments are open, and the best argued theory becomes its own episode. Subscribe for more stories about stories, and I'll see you inside the next one. The vault is always open.